Hi, and welcome to the ArtsyFartzy Club. My name is Mrs. Johnson, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. We are going to work on some experimental floating chalk prints. They're monoprints because you only can make one. And so mono means one. And we're just going to kind of see what happens. I had a couple ideas right before going on air today, and I wanted to experiment with them. And then if I experiment with it, then you can see the results and maybe use it in your own class or in your own home. So welcome to all my friends. Whenever I look over here, I'm checking my screen to make sure that I am on the screen and everything looks right. And I also check for comments because you're here and my two screens are there. I'm going to work on my setup one day, but for now on the cheap, this is the way it goes. So some of you are art teachers and some of you are students that are making art, and that's awesome. And I want to teach to both of you, so I will do the best that I can. So the materials that we're using today are, let's go clickety click. Oh, I don't like that. Why is it so blurry? Okay, we're going to work on that. Oh, it'll work. Okay. So I have a tub of water. Now, If I was doing this in my classroom, I would use a full sheet of paper. And I actually bought tubs that were larger than this. This is essentially a shoebox, a plastic shoebox. You can get these at the dollar store. You can order them at Walmart for like a pack of 10 for like 11 something. Or I'm sure you find it on Amazon, guys. But there's actually trays. You can use bigger plastic tubs that are short, or drawers, like those plastic drawer replacements, or there's actual trays you can get from like Saks, and it's not called Saks anymore. I think it's like Supplies something, but it was Saks back in my day. If you look it up as Saks, you can still find it. I'm positive. And anyway, so they have like shallow printmaking trays. The real ones are a little bit more expensive. So do what is available to you. You know, you could even use aluminum pans, like cookie sheets from the dollar store too. That would work, because all you need essentially is about an inch of water. Now this tub is narrower at the bottom and gets bigger at the top. So I filled it higher because I need that extra space to fit my paper. Now, originally I would do a, what is that called? A 9x12, but I cut my 9x12 in half. So then this is a 6x4.5, but it is a heavyweight drawing paper. It's a 90-pound paper. Do not try this with the cheap paper. It does not work well. I use the 90-pound paper for everything I do. It doesn't rip. Like if a child's erasing, very rarely do you actually work a hole into it. It does still happen. You got that one kid always. And but you can watercolor on this and paint on this. You can do all the things, and it usually holds up pretty well. So this is the way to go. There. Hi, guys. Okay. And my sound's on. Oh, we're all good. And let's go clickety click click over here so I can see any comments that roll in, because I love to talk to you guys. I appreciate when you say hello and where you're from. So if you are watching, please take a moment to say hello and where you're from. All right, here we go. So I have chalk, sidewalk chalk. This is not your ordinary sidewalk chalk. Regular sidewalk chalk is very pale. I would not recommend using it, but this is the Crayola, the washable sidewalk chalk. Comes in, let me move you over, Mr. Water. Can you see this? Yay. Okay. So it comes in a wide variety. This is the 24 pack. There's an even bigger pack yet. And I think there's a smaller pack, but it has a variety of colors. It's nice and big for elementary students to hold and do this project. And it's probably cheaper than using real pastels. I would not use my nice class pastels on this project. It's too expensive. So let's move my tray back and show you what we do for this project. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I've got a popsicle stick. You could use a plastic knife, but popsicle sticks aren't going to hurt anybody because they're not serrated. And there's a couple different ways you can go about this. You can just let your kids go to town, or you could choose different color families. You can say, okay, I want you to do a print that's warm colors, a print that's cool colors, a print of the tertiaries. You could do analogous groups. Those would look nice. And the reason that I want to make these prints, one, it's fun. You could do it in a single class, but that's 1 and 2. 3, I want some created papers for other projects. So what I would have my students do, move over again, Mr. Water. Here we go. I would say, okay, put your name on your papers. Give them a few papers, like 4, let's say. And put on your name. And then I would have them put in their class code. So let's pretend it's a first grader and they are in Johnson's class. So they put in the first initial of their teacher and their grade. And usually I don't have repeats, but let's say I also have Mr. Jones and Miss Johnson in first grade. So then I would just have them put a J-O or something like that to distinguish it, Jones for John. Well, that doesn't work actually. Jones and Johnson are the same. Okay, so Jeremy's, Mr. Jeremy's, and put a J-E. Okay, but you get the idea. On the most part, just their grade, their grade level and the initials, all they need. So they would do that on their 4 papers. And then you let them go to town for the class. Now, if you have a small class period, you have a 25 to 30-minute class period, I would recommend having trays for every child so that they are able to be active the entire class and do this project. So to demonstrate, you're just going to show, you're going to teach them about monoprints and what it means to do one print. And you can't, I don't know, you might be able to pull out a ghost print. I would like to experiment with that. Maybe we can do that later. But it's really meant to just pull one print, and you're going to take the popsicle stick and hold your chalk in the other hand, and you're going to scrape off pieces of chalk just like as if you were peeling a potato or you're peeling carrots. Okay, and you kind of get it all over, and you can even kind of direct it like, oh, I want some over here, so you scrape it over here, and I want some over there, and you scrape it over there. Okay, and then we get some other colors going. Ooh. And it kind of floats around, and it changes if you bump your plastic like I am. You see it moving around. Oh, let's get more contrast than that. That's not very interesting yet. Notice I'm trying to just bust out the warm colors. Now, this one is a paler color, so let's see how well the yellow prints. I'm going to make sure I put a lot of it on there so that it really shows up. Hey, my dears, do me a favor while I am doing this. Bum, bum, bum. Make sure that you like and subscribe. If you're here with me, you are my people, and it really helps me out if you take a moment to give it a thumbs up. Then it helps YouTube to send this to other artsy people like you and directs them to hang out with us and be part of the club. All right, getting some orange in here. So what color group am I using? And if you answered the warm colors, then you are correct. Good job. Now, some of those colors sink to the bottom, and a lot of them stay on the top. Now, when I go to put my paper in, I'm going to bend it kind of like a U, and then I'm going to set it on top of the water. The water, we could do a little science lesson with this and talk about the water tension, the surface tension of the water. And I wish I had looked that up before we got in here today, but you can talk about that. And that would be a really cool cross-curricular additive to show your administration. And we're going to just rest it on the top. Now, you might want to dab the corner to make sure it touches in. And then you know the process is working. If your corners are peeling up, that means that my paper has absorbed the water on that side. I'm going to shake off the drippy drips. Let it drip, because if you kind of let all that original water, I don't know if you can see, it gets kind of muddy right here in that where the blend is. So you kind of want to let that initial water drip off to leave your surface. And now you can see some really cool things happening where the water was kind of swirling with my color. And then, oh, this edge did not get pressed into the water, and you can see it's just the white paper. But the majority of my paper is fine. And what I would do is I would let them pick one paper that they're going to take home with them that day, so they get a takeaway, they feel good about it. Well, if it dries by the end of class. It should, because it's not a terribly wet project, but you get the idea that, and then I would save the other papers for another project that we're going to continue to work on next time. So let's do a free-for-all, whatever colors we want project and see what happens. I am positive that even if I used whatever color that floats my boat, it will still look okay. Now, I do see that some of the colors tend to sink to the bottom more than others. But as long as you keep going, you're going to get the floats on top, and it'll look good. There we go. This one's going to show up nice. And let's see, let's get a contrasting color. So we're just kind of doing whatever color pops in our mind. And let's throw in some yellow too to see if that yellow picks up. Now, when I put in my chalk, you don't have to do this. You can tell your kids to do whatever. But I kind of think about how my eye is going to go through my art. And I like to try to do triangular or lines. So I want to take my viewer's eye from here to there to here. So I'll put a color here, a color there, and a color there so that it flows. Or I'll make a line of the chalk going across. So it visually takes their eye through. Okay. And then once again, I did not put my name on the back of these papers, but you get the idea that you would have your name on the back. So I'm going to put it in a bend, tap those corners down, edges. Okay. And then it'll start taking the water and it will begin to peel up when I know that it's taken the water, and lift and drip. Let it drip, 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 drip off that excess and turn. Oh, nope, still a little bit. We don't want that muddy. You can even dance your fingers on the back. Okay. Ooh. Now this is almost giving that Sumi Nagashi look. And Sumi Nagashi is like a floating ink technique that the Japanese do to make printed papers that you might see those in the inside cover of like old books, these like marbleized printed papers that are just beautiful. But you can see the swirling in the water. Like, look at this. Gosh, I hope you guys can see it, kind of, that it swirls in here. And then here, how the blue started to float into the red, and the red created this wave look. That's what I call yummy, guys. It's a yummy art. Love it. Love the things that happen with our art. So fun. Okay, so I'm ready for some experiments. And I had a wondering when I was doing this, I had these guys, and I'm working on the ArtsyFartzy studio in Tarpon Springs / Palm Harbor, Florida. And I was thinking an extension project. What could the kids work on after they were done, like doing the papers? If like you get that one person that's really fast, what else could they do? And I was wondering, I had these wood shapes. You get these at like the dollar store. If they could print on this wood shape. Now, the wood is like a balsa wood, so it's nice and light. And I'm hoping it wouldn't sink to the bottom. But let's try it again. I think it might be cool. I'm going to use some fall colors for this. There might be some of my blue and stuff still on the surface. You could change the water if you were worried on any like color transfer or whatever from one color set to the next. But in a 25, 30-minute class, if you have a short class period, I wouldn't do it. And then do you really want kids walking around with an entire tub of water? I'm going to say no. Boop, 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 boop. Now, the thing about this little guy is that it's really small. So I'm only going to need a small area of colors. Don't really see that brown. I'm going to put some more of that brown on there. I hope it's still in there. It's hard to see on the brown table. Hi, brown. Okay, here we go, guys. Let's see if this works. Set it on. Ta-da. Take it off. Drippity drip, drip, drip. And the answer is meh. The answer is meh. Oh, sad face. Come on, dude. I wonder if I plunged my hand in, if it would be any better. Probably not. That was not as exciting as I had hoped it to be. You get a little bit. You do better watercoloring on one of these wood things. Okay, I did another experiment. I put chalk paint on it, and I wondered if that would affect, oops, because I get my dirty hands on it. If that would affect, oh, that reminds me. Also, friendly tip, have some wet ones, some just water-based wet wipes for hands. I would have them, have that at the table. Like if for an easy cleanup, you don't even have to have people go to the sink. But if you want them to go to the sink and you want to save money, sure, absolutely, do that. Okay, so let's see what will happen if I print on one of these guys that has chalk paint on it. And I'm wondering if the chalk paint will affect the surface at all. I'm going to say brown was not my friend in that last print. We're not. Whatever that is. You're not the strongest link. Goodbye. Okay. Here we go. I really hope that this works again. Okay. All right, come on, mama. Better. Plus it's a little space. I wonder if you could double dip to get more on it. Let's find another area. Maybe this area has some more floaties there. The double dip's a no. I'm going to say no. No on double dipping. It doesn't like it when I touch it more than once. And it's maybe just washing off the color. So, mildly underwhelming. I was really hoping that would work. That's a bummer. Okay, then I'm going to say I would rather do a different technique with these. Okay, so another technique that I would do that's not the chalk is floating watercolor on shaving cream, and maybe we'll talk about that next week. But that's how I would teach the kids the Suminagashi lesson. And so you would take shaving cream and watercolor and you float it on the surface, and I can explain that another time. Maybe we'll do that next week. And I'm wondering if that would print better. Honestly, I bet you, I guarantee you it would, that it would print better on there than this printed, than this chalk. The chalk is meh, just meh. And then I tried to find my white, well, I found it. I tried to have my white chalk paint, and I went to open it up and use it, and it was dried. It was so dry that it had a crack in it, and it was like solid as a rock. And you might be able to reconstitute it, but I didn't have time for it. Ain't nobody got time for that today. I had a black, and I thought, oh, maybe the chalk would show up on the black. after seeing this, I'm not optimistic at all. So let's really load her up and let's see what happens. Maybe a nice light color like the yellow. Any other light colors like a light orange? Oh, it's pushing out that red. I want more of that red back. Come on, red. All right, let's see. Will black chalk show up on the black? I'm not holding my breath on this one, but let's find out. Hey, that's not bad. That's not too bad. Now, the problem is that when the water all runs to the one side, it kind of washes off there. Oh, and you can tell I got a little air bubble right there. But that's actually better looking than the other one was. And then I'm wondering if you can come back over with like let this dry and then come back over with like a gold or silver Sharpie or permanent marker, paint marker, and then line the edges and then put in the veins. The black's kind of cool. I wish that corner would print though. Can I get you to print, little guy? Nope, making it worse. Making it worse, not better. Washing it off more, not better. Okay, don't do that. So one go, that's all you get. And make sure you don't get bubbles. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, that was better. And I don't know if you guys can kind of, it actually, I don't think the camera's doing it quite justice, but it actually did show up much, much better on this black than it did on the blue. The blue is really meh. And I was hoping like, you know, if it was white, it would really show up. And then nothing on it was really meh. Nothing on it, just didn't do it. So I'm going to say that chalk paint is really what's gripping. And then that black chalk paint was fresh. So I don't know. It literally, I just opened it today. So I don't know if that has something to do with it too. That might be an effect from the blue is older, has been sitting there almost as long as that white. Maybe the white was a little bit older than that, obviously. But I would say fresh chalk paint is worth a try. And then I would follow up with some sort of markers. That's what I would say. And then let's give you a looky-loo at those papers again before we go. And they're drying. And this is the effect that we have. It's still a little damp. How fun are these? I mean, they really are lovely. So that's just chalk floating on plain water. It's not distilled water. There's nothing special to it. Just water in a tray. And then that 90-pound heavyweight paper is all you need. So, my friends, that brings us to the end of our experiment today. Thank you so much for staying to the end. If you did, you are my people. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. I really appreciate you being here. Drop down a comment in below of what you would do with this paper. I have an idea, which I wanted to show you guys next week, but now I think I might teach you the Sumi Nagashi lesson and do more printed papers and then do the lesson with the printed papers to show you where I'm going with this project in the studio. If you are in the Tarpon Springs, Florida, or Palm Harbor, Florida area, East Lake, come and join us here at the ArtsyFartzy Club studio. I teach classes for many different options during the week and would love to see you here. And for the rest of my friends, if nobody's told you yet today, I absolutely love you. Thank you so much for sharing this special time with me. We learned a lot. We talked about mono, meaning one, to make mono prints, and we printed on our papers, and we experimented on our chalk painted leaves. So that is an experiment worth trying. I think that we found out something cool about the black chalk paint and where we can go from there. Thank you so much again. And until we see each other, My name is Mrs. Johnson, and I hope that you are absolutely artastic. Have a great week, guys, till I see you next Saturday live at 11 a.m.